welcome to the next episode of the Founder Singleton. I am wrapping up week 3 here in startup life. I think this is the first week where I've really felt stuck. Um, I think part of it was, I've been trying to rely on LLMs to do all the work, and I've really been hitting the boundaries with the complexity that I can safely and efficiently assign them. That's been an interesting thing. On the plus side, I did get my health insurance sorted out this week. That was a big thing. My wife has been undergoing treatment for shoulder surgery, so it's big news for us when we can't get insurance coverage. And yeah, it took about 3 weeks to get the Cobra stuff sorted out, and about 7 phone calls. The American medical system does us no favors, at least as early startup founders. So, anyways, I wanted to kind of cover what we accomplished this week, what challenges we hit, where I'm feeling stuck, and I will say that I'm also feeling, stressed. And even one of my kids noted that this morning. I do have to go ride my scooter 60 miles to go get maintenance, and it's a 60-mile range scooter, so I got a bunch of things I need to line up to get there in a timely manner. So yeah, let's get on with this call. So I'm gonna share my screen, and all right, cool. So the first big company thing that we're almost all grown up. Now we have a set of policies for this is for me to get to SOC 2 eventually. It'll probably be sooner than later that I end up undergoing that. I'm going to be using this neat GRC platform called OpenLane that a former colleague of mine has been developing. And my goal for SOC 2 is going to be get through it as a single person. I have not heard of anybody doing this yet, but doesn't mean it's impossible. I am trying to keep my policies as short and sweet as possible. I'm trying to go for a policy that someone else actually may read. And what I found with maintaining policies in the past is, clearly you need to be spell things out more clearly as an organization gets bigger. But you end up reaching this point that your policies are so long that nobody reads them. So I've kind of I've stuck to a limit of 2 sentences per policy here, kind of in plain English. We'll see what people have to say about that. But yeah, one of the reasons why I'm going to have to worry about SOC 2 sooner than later is I will invariably, as part of the tooling, need to be seeing needing some amount of access to people's code bases. People are going to want to see SOC 2 for that. So that felt really freeing to get that far. But yeah, let me show you what the application looks like. And I think the big thing this week is that the application grew from a one-trick pony to an actual platform of features. So you can see, we've got the pull request dashboard. Hasn't changed that much. Definitely a lot of regressions here with like the tagging and the labeling. But you can now see clearly who this PR is blocked on, and you can see that they need to review this PR. One of the things I've been blocked on is I am actually on V3 of the backend that tries to that is behind this state engine. And I've again tried to use an LLM to write and maintain the state engine. It is falling all over the place for that. It keeps regressing. In fact, I'm working on trying to make sure that it never screws up the old tests. One of the things I've noticed is sometimes I'll add like a new state to maintain, and it will say, I broke the tests, let me delete the old tests that were complicated and brittle. And the reality is that trying to understand semantically who is responsible in what capacity to make a pull request move forward is actually surprisingly tricky. There ends up being some natural language processing involved. And that part is working out pretty well. But you can see not each of these says who's blocking it. You can see on this one, it says I'm blocking it. It's also supposed to make this a red card, but that's a bug. So that's working out well. You can even visit this URL today and see, you will almost certainly see PRs that you forgot existed. So that part is cool. And I guess where this page has grown in the last week is now we've got a section about notifications. Real-time notifications is a big part of this. It's also a part that is mostly MIA at the moment. But we did deliver a native macOS app. It should actually work on Linux and macOS, but that has not been tested yet. So, and this is, I think, going to be the main driver of efficiency for developers. I'm aiming for a 90% reduction. I think I can actually do better than that for most corporations, but we'll say for open source, it'll be 90%. So I'm aiming for a 90% improvement in the latency of a PR gets sent out and then it gets merged. And so you can actually see a little bug there where it repeats itself. But anyways, so I think a large part of this is that developers don't know when they're blocking. And so if somebody sends me a PR that I am blocking, like they're waiting on my review, or if somebody has reviewed my PR, that this icon here changes colors, lets me know that I should be doing things with that PR right now. So I did make a command line app. Other things are coming soon. And the next big thing that I started, at least landed the user interface for and some of the bot code for, is the robot army. And this is kind of the other side of the equation of, to get pull requests through, you need human blood to do the reviewing, but it really helps if you have great automation. So one of the coolest automations is this one that like analyzes the code. If a PR has no assignments, it analyzes the code to see what other very regular people who are, actively working on this code base have also touched these lines of code before, and it assigns it out. And I've got a new algorithm for that I haven't put in, but you can see this one's a spicy one for the auto approvals. I have been testing this one. There's some more work I need to do to protect against malicious changes. It should detect almost any malicious change at this point, but it depends on the level of indirection. Compliance bot has not been written yet, but this is to basically maintain the pull requests that have not been approved. That's a pretty big deal when you are worrying about SOC 2. I have the Slack channel things in here, but I'm going to move them. The reassigner for when people are on vacation. The test bot is going to be super cool, but I haven't actually started working on that one yet. And then we've got the automatic closer. So we've got little robot army. A good one of my dearest old colleagues and managers, Joseph Baronis, really spoke to never pour human blood into a machine unnecessarily. I think he said it better than that, and probably showed up in the SRE book. But yeah, this is definitely living to those expectations of automate what we can and then add human brains to what we can't. So I started working on this pull request health dashboard as well, to show how backlogged is a particular organization, like how good are their their code review practices today as far as moving things through. And this is basically, it's I don't have the metrics yet that show where PRs get blocked. That's coming. But this basically shows that, for this particular organization, they have shipped 137 PRs in the last 10 days, but there are also 306 PRs that are older than 10 days. And that ratio is, shows that they are not doing a great job of managing their incoming pull requests. And a lot of that is visibility, but some of that is a lack of ownership on, and honestly, poor notification mechanisms. One could argue that my product is largely there to fill in the gaps for all the things that GitHub sucks at. Here you can see a smoother organization. They've got, they are shipping more than they are leaving behind. So that's awesome. You'll actually see this ratio get pretty low in open source projects at times. It'll correctly identify when open source projects have been abandoned. So anyways, so we've got that going now. We've got this interesting changelog feature. I actually started working on this in part because I found it frustrating to know what changes what changes I've contributed to in an organization. But when I was actually just thinking about hey, what has CodeGroove done in the last week? I didn't have a really great way to figure that out. But so I went ahead and did that. Now the interesting thing, there's still some bugs on this one, but it'll show whether or not there are raw commits or pull requests. If we look here, we'll see if this actually ever renders. We'll give it a second. But anyways, so it's supposed to be like a prioritized changelog. I would love to do some AI work on this later, but for now I'm trying to not do AI stuff with this particular feature. We'll see if there's an organization. Let's try the Cloud Query again as an example. So, all right, I think this feature is totally broken at the moment, but that's okay. There is a leaderboard function, and this is part of where I'm going into the psychological side of how do we help encourage people to be better code reviewers. This is just showing the top contributors at the moment, but the idea is to give everybody some sort of crown, you can think Strava style, for if they are the fastest reviewer or most comprehensive reviewer. I've developed leaderboards for GitHub before, so this shouldn't be too strange, but so that's a work in progress. But so yeah, that's kind of where things are at on the UI side right now. Things I've been stuck on this week, trying to get my new backend in place that does the state analysis. That's been a slog. I've been using this, I'm trying to use this technique of splitting up my libraries up more than I would, or my services up more than I normally would, so that I can have LLMs operate on smaller, atomic pieces rather than larger code bases. That's worked out pretty well, but I am breaking things apart maybe a little unnaturally. And it's been fine as long as the code doesn't have a lot of complicated logic. But one of the things I've noticed is anytime there's complicated logic, the LLMs seem to be a little bit lossy about how they handle it. A great example is I cannot ask an LLM at this point to split the CSS for these various pages. It doesn't matter. So far I've only used Gemini and Claude for this, but invariably I end up with a pile of broken CSS. Like it'll split it into like 5 or 6 files for me based on like the page, but none of the pages will render properly. And this was driving me absolutely bonkers yesterday. It actually made me feel a little depressed and like disappointed. But I also feel really good now that I am seeing the limitations of LLM-based programming, and I think where I'm going to end up moving for the state machine maintenance is I think that's just going to end up being code that I maintain myself. I'm going to give it a little, still give it a shot, but that's okay. And I think, and this, I don't get the whole CSS problem, but I think I'm just going to end up splitting the CSS myself, and then I can have Claude work on it. So yeah, so making progress. I also, my other big boy accomplishment is that now I have a dashboard of, I've got a Kanban dashboard. And this is like a very popular technique. I believe it came from Toyota on kind of figuring out where things are stuck. You've got limits in each of these items. And so I'm closing out the week with like a big amount of things accomplished. That's great. I still have a lot going on. But yeah, that's kind of where we are in a nutshell. So progress is, I feel like progress may be slowing down at this point. But I think it's just that as your code base gets larger, the complexity does cause slowness in iteration. And this is not only true in a code base, but it's very true in an organization. So I'm trying to keep things lean and mean. I have gone ahead and, I'm using Cloud Run for everything. I am using Co for everything right now. I'm kind of taking the easy deployment path, maybe not the cheapest deployment path, but I am hitting all the easy buttons so that next week I'm going to present what I have to a prospective customer, which was my goal for the month of July. So we're getting there. Branding and feature cohesion and things like that. There's a lot of work to be done. But hey, being able to show this in front of a prospective customer is going to be a huge accomplishment. So I really look forward to that. And there will be no recording next week, I think. We'll see. I'm going to be on vacation. So, all right. Maybe see you next week, if not the week after. Take care.